Seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, down to a public hearing. We have none. Financial reports. We move to the approval of invoices from the Brownfield Administrator of Ed Bradford will review the summary of paid invoices. At this time, Ed, you'll be in charge.
Sure, so you can see on the screen the invoices that we've paid since the last meeting. They've basically been for fishback for both the 141 Washington development and then also for the 91 Arthur Street development. There was some membership dues for myself, and then there was some advertisements for the public hearing for the Brownfield plan on 91 Arthur Street. And then if we go to the financial statements, you can see the balance sheet report. We've got $144,000 in cash, but $107,000 of that is stuff that I'm holding to distribute next August because we've been collecting taxes since July 1st. And so we capture those taxes and hold on to them until we distribute them. So nothing unusual there. And the revenue expenditures, it just shows the year-to-date balance. For the month, we had some fishback bills in October, which I showed you on the last page, those membership and dues. And then this is the total for the year. We may have to do a budget amendment down the way depending on where things shake out because we've received a lot of revenues. For example, the Gateway Brownfield plan, we received that 20 grand like 3 years ago. So we still have to incur expenses on here. So we may have to amend the budget on the expense side a little bit, but we've gotten revenues to offset that, but we don't need to worry about that today. So any questions on the reports or the invoices?
For the financial report, any questions? I don't believe so. Do we need a motion to approve? Do we need a motion to approve the financial reports?
I move to approve the financial report.
I'll second that.
Second, all right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And move then to new business. That's an approval of development and reimbursement agreement for the 91st Arthur Street redevelopment project. Want me to read the whole thing down there?
Sure.
The Brownfield Redevelopment Authority previously approved a brownfield plan for the 91st Arthur Street redevelopment project, contingent on entering into a development and reimbursement agreement. The project includes redevelopment property by demolishing the existing functional obsolete structure and constructing a new approximately 3,000 square foot waterfront restaurant. Phase 1. Additional phases of redevelopment involve the construction of a seawall and site improvements. Phase 2. And the construction of a boathouse and amphitheater. Phase 3. The boathouse bar is expected to be approximately 2,000 square feet. The developer, the Brownfield Authority, and the city now need to enter into a development and reimbursement agreement. The city and Brownfield Authority consultant Fishback prepared an agreement that has been approved by the city attorney and signed by the developer. At this time, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority can act to approve the development and reimbursement agreement. So we need a motion to approve the redevelopment agreement. Again, I need a motion to approve the redevelopment agreement between the city and the developer. Development and reimbursement agreement, yeah, okay.
Jared, could we get a little
Any questions you want, ask Ed.
information about
Sure. I mean, the agreement is our standard format, and it's been used with, like when you guys approved the one for 141, Washington Street. It's basically the same format as that, but I can walk through it section by section if that would be of interest for people.
It must be because we seemed a little bit hesitant up here.
Sure. So recall when you approved the Brownfield plan, it was contingent on approving a development agreement. And anytime we do a Brownfield plan, the city requires a development agreement to specify a number of different things and provide protections for the city, the Brownfield Authority, and the developer. So the first section basically just talks about, the property, it describes it, the different parcels that are involved. And then it talks about what the project is and what the estimated eligible activities are. That's the $772,000 that we talked about, and that was approved in the Brownfield plan.
Right.
It talks about the types of taxes that are captured and what they're used for. It talks about the Brownfield Authority's administrative costs. And then it basically gets into the agreement. So it says the reimbursement source, number one here, is going to be the tax increment revenue that the Brownfield Authority collects from the developer, or not from the developer, from the taxes that they pay and we retain and then pay out. The developer reimbursement process, basically, they have to submit their documentation for invoices. Kirk and I review those. We clear up any questions. Sometimes we disallow costs, and then we present those to the Brownfield Authority for their approval. And once all those costs are established and approved, then we can start to reimburse the developer for those costs. And I do that once a year in August, is when that development happens. It talks about the term of the agreement, which is coincides with what the Brownfield plan is. There's a section in here about the construction of the process of the project. We'd like to put that in just to have a little bit of protection. It says they're going to use their reasonable best efforts to start the project by December 2024 and complete the project by December 31st, 2025 for phase 1, and hopefully phase 3 be done by December 31st, 2028. We have a section in here on appealing the property taxes. We don't like people that we were giving tax breaks to appeal their taxes because that's just counterproductive. So we give them one bite at the apple after they've had a good year or plus of operations. If they don't like the assessment, then they can appeal it. After that, they can't appeal it anymore.
All right.
There's
You
a
have a question, too?
Yeah, I did. Ed, back
Uh-huh.
on four. Is there any language in the agreement about when or if they get on schedule?
We don't have that, but keep in mind if they get started and they stall, they're not going to really be able to submit their eligible costs because the project hasn't been seen through to completion on that. So, they don't get reimbursed until they basically build the project, and that's
All right.
yeah.
For them to quit, they wouldn't get reimbursed.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Ed, just to clarify, this is the Brownfield plan that was approved at the last meeting when I wasn't there. Yeah, okay. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to catch up.
Yeah.
remember what-
All then should have been
So, you,
approved.
okay.
Then there's legalese about adjustments, legislative authority, notices, whether this agreement can be assigned, indemnification.
Is it assignable?
It is based on this paragraph 9.
Okay.
Shall not
And
be
then-
assigned or otherwise transferred to any party without the consent of the other party, which shall not be unreasonably withheld.
Okay.
Provided, however, the developer may assign their interest in this agreement to an affiliate without prior written consent, blah, 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 blah. And the new city attorney has actually reviewed all of this and was comfortable with it. They had not seen this particular form of the agreement before because it was one that Micah Myers had done, but the new folks looked at it and they're comfortable with it. And Kirk, chime in. I mean, you've looked at the agreement too, right?
Yeah, I have. It's very similar to many others that are written in different communities, and it's very similar to every one we've done in Manistee so far. One thing just to kind of keep in mind too, if the development were to stall, the Brownfield Authority is never required to reimburse the developer unless the tax revenues are there. So if they don't build it, it doesn't finish, the authority is not on the hook for the $700,000. It's only if the tax revenues during the life of the plan are enough to pay them back.
And then one other question for you, Ed. Who is the developer on this one? I just see it as 9199 Arthur.
Yeah, so 9199 Arthur, it's an LLC. Bridget Vanderhoff is the principal of that. Yep.
Thanks.
So are there any other questions on the agreement?
Questions of anyone concerning the agreement? And again, I'll read, at this time, the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority can act to approve the development and the reimbursement agreement. Now, again, I'll say I need a motion to that approval.
I move to,
All right, okay, a motion and seconded.
And second.
Is that okay? Everybody in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? And it's been approved. And then move down to old business. We have none. Public comments, communications. And what do you think, Ed? Nothing?
Not seen any public here.
No, I don't. Correspondence, anything?
No.
Dinner invite or nobody asked us out? All right. Staff reports, anything you want to say?
Yeah, and Kirk can chime in here too. So this agreement that you just approved, it's been on a real fast track because of the timing of the state. And it's really caused Kirk a little bit of angst trying to get done with the Act 381 work plan, which we do administratively. So he and I are going to brainstorm about how we can temper developers' expectations about breaking backs to try to get stuff done based on their lack or their timelines, which tend to be over aggressive in my opinion. But he's going to get it done. I've got a draft I'm going to look at. I'm going to get him comments, and then he'll be able to get that back and we can get that turned around. But Kirk has really moved mountains to get that done. So it's not uncommon that developers are hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait. But this one's been particularly a challenge on that. So just know that we're taking care of that. On the Gateway project, we normally have or we scheduled a monthly meeting with all the different interested parties to kind of keep this moving ahead. And the one that we're supposed to have here in November, we're still having, but T asked that it get pushed back to December. So I don't know if T's going to be at that one, but Eagle and Fishback and I will be there to talk about a few administrative things. So I'm not quite sure. I think it sounds like there's some new developments on the Gateway front. I'm just not sure what they are yet. I have a call into T to kind of find out, but as far as I know, that's still progressing. And we've got a lot of clarity from the MEDC on our last call as to how that needs to proceed, which is good. That really helps out Fishback.
MEDC?
Yeah, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. They're providing hopefully quite a bit of funding for this project.
Good.
So we wanted everybody who was involved in this to kind of hear the same thing, so we scheduled a meeting for that.
And there's no start date on this?
Still no start date. No, getting closer, but still no start date. So officially published. Kirk, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I appreciate you bringing that up, Ed. We're gonna work with developers to make sure they have realistic timelines with the Gateway. That was the first I had heard from T. I wonder if a tenant maybe is changing, but we, like you said in your budget report earlier, the funds are there when they're ready to get started. So we'll kind of, when it's feasible to go, we'll get started. And I guess the only other thing with the Gateway is, the BRA is going to obviously have to be on board, but it's also going to involve communication with the DDA too. So there'll be a lot of moving parts to that one once it gets going.
Once it gets going.
Yeah, it's a very complex, that'll be the most complex development project
I betcha.
that the city's seen. I mean, Harbor Village was probably bigger, but it wasn't more complex because there was no tax incentives at all. It was all just the developer doing it. So from like all hands on deck, lots of multiple financing sources and parties involved, this one's gonna be the top of the heap, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I've got for updates there.
Alrighty. Anything else then? That's it?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Members' discussion? We'll start. Well, first of all, welcome aboard. So what's your name again?
Nick?
Nick.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard. You came on last week. Megan, you weren't here, were you, last week?
No, but we met in the elevator. We showed up together.
Oh, yeah.
But really just rode the elevator.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard. You got anything to complain about or ask? No? Megan, what do you think? Nothing?
I'm just catching up today.
Yeah. How about yourself? You got
no,
any?
have any comments.
Okay, I've got one question. When the hell are they gonna finish that bridge?
But
Jeez
if you'd come to
almighty.
the city council meetings, you'd get an update from Mr. McCool.
I'm telling you, I'm tired of listening to
There
Mr.
shouldn't
McCullough.
be any more full lane closures. There might be, like it is now, partial lane closure. They've got a couple of little things they've still got to do, but they're hoping to get it, I think, by, hopefully the end of the month, I think is what Jeff said, to be fully open.
Is that right?
So we're getting closer. We'll
Somebody
see.
milking that job. Okay, so then if nothing else, we'll probably meet again in December, or you're not sure?
I'm gonna leave that on the calendar, the standard meeting, and then we'll
Okay.
cancel it if we don't need it, because with the way things are happening, there's probably we're gonna be meeting monthly for a little bit still, so, yeah, I
Right.
think we'll leave it on
So normally it's, 4 o'clock on, what, second Tuesday?
and, yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah, here. All right, if nothing else, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, and have a good day, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right.
And have a